K on after a quick word from FanDuel. You can get ready to tackle all of the NFL's action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if they win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out all the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And with that, let's welcome Mary Kay to the show. How you doing today, Mary Kay?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
We're excited about trade deadline day. I mean, unfortunately, the Browns not buyers; they're sellers. Za'Darius Smith, essentially for a fifth-round pick. They'll exchange picks the following year. Do you expect them to trade anybody else today, Mary Kay?
I do. I think they'll try to make a couple of other minor trades and clear out a couple of guys that maybe they don't have use for anymore this year. One of the small ones would be Quentin Jefferson, if they can find somebody to give them something in return for him. Probably won't be easy to get someone who's on an expiring contract for just an 8-game rental. But if someone needs a good defensive tackle who can get some pressure up the middle, then perhaps they'll move him. One that I'm just keeping an eye on is Elijah Moore for whatever reason, because he had just a little bit of a rocky middle to the season there. He wasn't getting targets. He got frustrated. He got benched. And I really feel like they want to get Jamari Thrash onto the field, and that it would be easier for them to do that if they cleared out a spot there. So maybe they'll try to do something with him. I don't see David Njoku moving. I don't see some of these other guys moving. I don't think they can get anything right now for Jed Wills since he has just been benched. So it's probably not going to be as active as some people had hoped.
Mary Kay, what went wrong? How did we get from Jameis going for 300 yards until all these interceptions and the offense looking stagnant last week?
Well, the Ravens defense, as you know, as we must remember, and I tried to kind of put this out there quite a bit, was the fact that it was the 32nd ranked pass defense minus 2 of their best cornerbacks. And they simplified things with some backups on the field, and they made things, just a little bit easier to pass the ball against them for. So I think that had a lot to do with it, that Jameis faced a better defense, a better pass defense. This was the 9th ranked pass defense, but we also must remember that he had 3 interceptions dropped against that Ravens 32nd ranked pass defense. So the foreshadowing was already there. And then by the time he had the 3 picked off, he was up to 5 dropped interceptions. So the signs were there that he was still kind of slinging it around. And I know sometimes you have to do that to get back in the game in the second half like that. The conditions obviously were not ideal at that point. He didn't get the support from the defense that he needed on that particular day. But this just is, it shows, it's a sign that, perhaps, and I wrote this after the game, perhaps Jameis wasn't going to be the fix earlier in the season when they had even worse problems than they do now.
Mary Kay, just to follow up on that, do you think they stick with Jameis? I know that Kevin said that he wanted to, keep Jameis as the starter. Do you think that that's the right move, or do you think we see DTR at some point?
Well, that's what he said before the bye week. Sometimes you go in there and you break everything down, you figure everything out, and you see that maybe you want to do something a little bit different than what you were doing. For now, I still do think that they're going to go with Jameis. He's going back to New Orleans. That is a very, very winnable game. They just fired their coach, and they're 2-7 as well. So I think that they probably will stick with Jameis for right now. The team probably just needs a little bit of continuity. But once again, things might change when you're coming out of a bye week, and you get a lot of people involved in the evaluation. And so we'll see how that goes. I do think at some point we will see more DTR this season. And I'm also curious, why not take a look at Bailey Zappi? You have him in the building. Once he gets up and running, once he really understands the system, if you want to evaluate him in your scheme with your players to see what you have in him for next year, then why not go ahead and do that? Because obviously they have quarterback decisions they have to make.
Yeah, to me, Mary Kay, they have to get a new quarterback next year somehow. I mean, I don't know if they're going to draft somebody or take a veteran, whatever, but The reason I would keep playing Jameis is because I think he gives you a better chance to evaluate some of your players around him. Like Cedric Tilman has really stood out the last 3 weeks. And I'm curious, like, they've blown so many draft picks under Andrew Berry. We thought they blew it with Tilman, and now he's looked like a legitimate player with Jameis Winston. So I kind of want Jameis to play to see if Cedric Tilman continues to progress to become a legitimate starting wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, that's a great point. And they should do that because so much of these final 8 games are going to be about what do they have for the future. And they do need to find out what they can do with some of those guys. And of course, we know that Dorian and Ced have a very nice connection together from having gone to high school together. And I still think that Ced would be getting the ball with him. But you're right, they probably should keep the veteran quarterback in there who's got a lot of games under his belt, a lot of starts under his belt, and see what they can't do. But if he keeps throwing interceptions, I don't know how long Kevin Stefanski is going to let him stay in there because he absolutely hates interceptions, and you can't function that way when you're throwing the ball to the other team. So he's going to have to get that cleaned up. But if he can do that, I would probably start him for probably a handful of more games and then maybe turn things over to the younger guys.
Mary Kay, I'm just sitting here and I'm putting myself in Myles Garrett's shoes. And I'm sitting here as we talk about this stuff right now, and I'm behind these sunglasses just reminiscing and rolling my eyes because I'm like, wow, we talk about Bailey Zappi and Jameis Winston and maybe DTR and maybe we could find somebody. How do you sell this to Myles Garrett? Like, how do you with a straight face go in and say, hey, Myles, I know you were here when we tore it down to the studs, but if you stick around, you at least can wear the Browns uniform until you retire. Like, if I'm Myles Garrett, I'm looking like I can't be Joe Thomas. I can't, I'm too good of a player that I want to at least one day in my life say, yo, I'm on a competitive team. How are the Cleveland Browns selling this rebuild to their veterans? Because this is a rebuild. Like, it's here. We're looking at it. And it ain't going nowhere. We were just talking about quarterbacks from high school and college quarterbacks before you got on. How you sell this to Myles Garrett?
Well, I don't really think that they need to do a massive rebuild. They're going to be keeping a lot of their core players right now. If they weren't going to do that, then they would be trading a Myles Garrett today or trading him at some point before next season. I'm sure Myles is going to want some reassurance that there's a good quarterback coming along somehow, some way. But he loves it here. He wants to stay here. I think you can look at the Pittsburgh model to sort of see how you can dig yourself out of this mess. And they didn't just go out and get one quarterback for this season. They went out and got Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And by the way, Justin Fields, why not try to get your hands on a guy like that if you're the Cleveland Browns?
Go Bucks.
But, right, I mean, short of that, why not go out and try to do what those guys did, what the Steelers did, and then you don't have to do a massive rebuild. Because if you get the quarterback in place, they have a lot of other pieces. You should be able to get back on track sooner than later if you can find the QB.
So real quick follow-up on that. So you are advocating you would rather go after maybe a bridge guy, Anthony Richardson may be available, Bryce Young may be available, Justin Fields is another name that are younger guys with a little more upside. Do you believe that those names are more viable to keep this thing moving rather than talking about Quinn Ewers or Shedeur Sanders in the draft?
It depends on, we're going to talk to Andrew Berry tomorrow morning. I don't know if they want to go the rookie route unless they find someone like a Jaden Daniels or someone like that they feel like can come in and win games right away. Short of that, I think you'd really want to try to find someone who can keep this train rolling along and get it back on track and maybe contend next season. So maybe you do go with a little bit more of an experienced player. They have a lot of different options. It has to be cost effective, but I think that in some way, shape, or form, if they can find a quarterback who can play winning ball, I don't think they want to go 2-15 next season. I don't think they want to do that. I think they want to get back on track with a football team that still has a lot of football players on it.
Mary Kay, let me ask you about the secondary. Obviously, two bad miscommunications led to two wide open touchdowns. What was the players saying after the game about this, and what are they going to do to fix those things so it doesn't happen? Because to me, I feel like this has been something that's happened for the past 3 years. We've seen it at least once every 3 years, or for the past 3 seasons, I should say.
Well, I have to wonder. I said this on a video after the game that I'm not 100% certain that Denzel Ward should have been playing in that football game. He didn't practice on Wednesday. He didn't practice on Thursday. I know it was a big game, but just 1 week after you got your 6th concussion of your career, 2nd of the season, I probably would have sat him down for that game. And who knows if some of the miscommunication had anything to do with the fact that maybe he just wasn't as sharp as he usually is. Maybe missing practice during the week didn't help matters when they were doing the install for the game. I know you're there for the meetings and all of those kinds of things, but maybe there was something about that just did not go well. We'll see as time goes forward, but they have to communicate a whole lot better in the back end. That was very disappointing. And I'd say the second long one seemed to be more Denzel's guy. I'd say the first one seemed to be more Juan's.
Mary Kay, thanks as always. Be interesting to hear from Andrew Berry, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Thanks, Mary Kay.